Recently, Sony announced the PlayStation Classic, and we now actually know the games that are going to be included, the full 20 game list. And it's fair to say that a lot of people are disappointed with the games list. I'm kind of down on it as well, and for example, where is Castlevania Symphony of Night? That should have definitely have been on there. There are some questionable games for sure, but it gets worse because it turns out not only does it not have a particularly strong list of games on it, but it actually doesn't work properly. Yes, that is how bad it's looking so far. So not only are you paying £90 for that particular games list, which isn't the best, you're also getting a console which struggles to run the games properly. It turns out that actually it has frame rate issues, which basically causes a little bit of slowdown in games. In particular, it's the 3D games that were on the PlayStation that it seems to struggle with the most. So take, for example, maybe Tekken or Ridge Racer. It's actually struggling to keep a solid 30, or as it should be, 60 frames per second. And as a result, you're getting slowdown, which means it's not working properly. And ultimately, it makes more sense to buy the games for the original console and just play it on the original console rather than buy this PlayStation Classic. So yeah, while I still think the general population will probably buy it, I think a lot of gamers who do research and that will actually be completely off-put by this and will probably not buy it unless they're maybe a big collector or something like that. In other news though, Sony has decided to skip E3 next year, so for 2019. For me, I was completely shocked by this because I can't remember the last time Sony weren't at E3. Sony are, at the minute, they are pretty much dominating this generation in terms of sales and everything like that. And you could argue that at the moment they have the strongest exclusive lineup of games out of both the PS4, the Switch and the Xbox One. So for them to skip it means they've obviously got something big planned, but we don't know exactly what it is. Now, they've talked about thinking of another idea or another experience, so maybe they're going to go down Nintendo's route. As we know, Nintendo doesn't do a E3 press conference anymore. They have their own sort of little show that they do online where they present the games there. That's basically how they do it. Maybe Sony's thinking about doing something similar. Maybe they are thinking about doing just an online presentation that's maybe about an hour long and just showcases the games, and there you go. But a lot of people are starting to talk about the fact, and it's been going on for a while anyway, but there's more and more people who are starting to believe that they are doing this on purpose to lead up for the year after 2020, which sounds so futuristic when you say it, for a PlayStation 5 presentation. Now, for me, I have far from done with the PlayStation 4. There are still several games that I would love to play on it that are exclusive to the console. Heck, all the games that all the big exclusives, should I say, that came out this year, I've yet to play them. I've yet to play God of War, and I've yet to play Spider-Man. Two massive game releases for the console this year, and yeah, yet to touch them. So there's still a lot of time for me to invest in that console, and I'm really enjoying the console as a whole. So I'm in no hurry to move to the next generation yet. And yeah, I'd be kind of surprised if it actually comes out in 2020. They may announce it, but I don't think we'll see it until the year after, personally. That's just my guess anyway. Maybe it's just Sony's got too big for E3, maybe the format itself is kind of dead and they think that they need to try something different to get more people sort of involved and engaged in it. Don't get me wrong, a lot of people go to the event, I know that, a lot of gamers and a lot of sort of audience through that, but maybe it is time to just step away from E3 and do something completely different. It could, of course, really backfire. That's the other thing as well, because you already have that established platform of E3 where all the eyes of the gaming industry are on that event. And if you take Sony out of it, what have you got left? You've literally got Microsoft left at E3 as the only console company there, and PC, of course. So yeah, it's going to completely change E3 if it's a temporary thing, even if it's a temporary thing, or maybe it's for long term. E3 could potentially die as a result of this, because if you cut out Sony, you cut out one of the biggest and arguably the best platform currently available for games consoles.